Hey, and welcome back for another live video here. Today we have in the studio another indie comic publisher, lesser known comics. And today we're going to be talking about one of their newer releases that is coming out in Kickstarter called Digital Lizards of Doom. So let's get at it. And today in the studio, today in the studio we have Liam Jones, the co-host, the man in action, the artist himself, and we have Mark. How do you pronounce your last name, Mark?
Brenal, just like burn it all.
Nice. I like the people who come on to say their last name, because a lot of the times you're a little bit off with the pronunciation. So
yeah, well, my family pronounces it wrong anyway, because it's actually a Hispanic last name. So
Okay. And mine's French, and people say it wrong all the time, right? They're like, "Hey, the douche," and I'm like, "No."
Accurate.
So nothing like cracking the ice on that one. So
what's going on, Mark? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm joining you guys from California. I'm out visiting this week and just counting down the days to our next Kickstarter launch. Lots and lots of work. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
This is the third installment of this comic that you're doing, this Lizards of Doom. Yeah?
Yeah, it's the first launch that they're doing with us. So the first one that they did was with their previous publisher, and then the second one they did was with they did on their own, so there's a lot of pressure to live up to the previous experiences, and make sure that Gabe, the creator, feels like, oh cool, like it's gotten better since Lesser Known's taken the helm.
Nice. Yeah, that's so. They've already done this with someone else in the past, and so now from here on, it's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you go about running? So let's start in the beginning. So I've been watching a bunch of your interviews throughout the day and just reading up about you, and it's quite amazing. Like I gotta say, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I love what you're doing. It's great. How do you even live life? So how did you start doing this comics thing?
So like a lot of people, during quarantine, you reevaluate your life, your priorities, your decisions, and stuff like that. And I told my wife, I was like, I really, want to get back into creative writing, and I'm thinking about working on a comic. And I started working with 3 artists to develop concept art for it, and fell in love with all 3 of them. So then expanded to, okay, well, maybe we do 3 stories that kind of intersect with each other. But they really served as like a lightning rod to draw additional creators, that came to Lesser Known. There's big, void of, the need to hey, I'm first time creator, where can I publish my work with somebody? Because obviously, Image and Dark Horse and those ones, they get a bazillion requests, and they can't publish at all. So our catalog of, creator-owned content was rapidly growing as well. And then, next thing I know, we have 14 creators currently within Lesser Known Comics. And I think there's about 6 or so that are onboarding. They're working on their first pages and thumbnails and stuff like that with us. So it's grown, it's grown really rapidly. And then Digital Lizards of Doom, we started talking during the summer, and then we officially started, working together in the fall of 2021. And it's just been a great addition, to the team. Just both me and Gabe Valentine, the creator of Digital Lizards of Doom, we come from the indie music scene as well. So, we had a lot of, commonalities in terms of just, culture and mindset and values about, what it's like to be on, a team, and how to work with other creators and be very collaborative and open and sharing and stuff like that. So so we're getting ready for his third book, and this will be our first kind of launch, bring in the full. We've done a big reorg this year to kind of professionalize, like how we do marketing and how we do websites and how we do all the things, that a grown-up company has. We've been blessed to have, some professional mentorship, come in to kind of, teach us, what we should be doing. But a lot of it's our first rodeo still.
It's definitely inspiring to see what you're doing and what you've done in the last year. So it's definitely a great model to follow. And I would like to be more a part of the community and just interacting more with people and creators and stuff. Like we have a couple actually creators in the chat right now. We got Dan Price, and he's the creator of Bigfoot Knows Karate.
Karate.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Texan, so yeah, karate.
So and just
I actually bring up Dan a lot.
Oh, do you?
And I talk to creators about elevator pitches, and I shared this with Dan once, and I said, Bigfoot Knows Karate is like the perfect thing. You know what you're getting, like right away. It's right in the title, and it's like because sometimes you ask people for the elevator pitch, and then like 6 minutes later, you're like, needs to be shorter. So Dan's doing awesome work.
It is. It's incredible, and he's like a class act guy. He's just he's amazing, and he's also been really essential in getting some of the word out there for our last launch on the Sasquatch Viking Kickstarter as well. So and helped push us up over the marker of where we need to be in the last one, which was fantastic. And yeah, it's amazing the power of the indie community. So, and it's very inspiring.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, for sure. What got you basically? I know like you were kind of like the rock band stuff, but what really kind of stimulated the actual push into like the indie comics? Like, how did you like fall into it? Were you always an avid collector of comics? Like, was there certain things that inspired you to want to do this specific thing?
So I'm kind of late to the game with comic books, just in the fact that, I grew up, watching the X-Men animated series and Spider-Man animated series. Back then, you could still get comic books in the grocery store, so you could bother your mom. Hey, mom, want this? But like a lot of people, didn't grow up with a ton of money. So being able to collect comics on a regular basis wasn't really an option. So, but I was always a big X-Men fan. So later in life, I had that realization. I was like, oh my God, I can kind of afford all these books now, and I can kind of catch up. So it was cool. It's like getting a bunch of like deleted scenes to a movie that you've already loved, so it's been really recent in me getting back into reading comics, but that's much different as well than like the indie comic scene. So as I was introduced to it, I was seeing like so much overlap with the indie music scene, and I do know that really well. So I just fell in love with it really quickly, the camaraderie of it, and just that idea that when we're putting together our business model for lesser known comics, they always ask you in your business plan about like competitor analysis and stuff, and talking about, hey, it's not really a competition, in the indie music scene or indie comic scene. It's much more of a co-op.
That's awesome.
Daryl Swaski, welcome.
Can everybody hear me okay?
This is all like, so Chad put all this together. So me and Chad, we met on this live stream, this like colorists live stream on YouTube. and connected. And then I got drawn into this this whole world with these guys here. So Daryl Swaski is a writer. I'm an artist and a writer, musician as well. I think we're all kind of musicians, are we not? We all have
I played the triangle.
I think Mark might take the cake. Like I've seen people
Bob is sitting at his drum kit.
and Bob Little is an artist, and these are all like new friends of mine, so it's very exciting. Very, very cool stuff.
Yeah, nice
to meet you too, Mark. Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Wow. All right,
Sorry,
so I've been trying to
guys.
queue up a video, Mark, of this, just because there was this promo video, and for some reason I can't find it. But the colorist and the digital work that's gone into this comic is like out of this world. Can you talk about that a bit?
So Digital is actually it's a different artist each time. So to give a background on that story, it's done very different than everything else. So when the book came to us, when Gabe was first showing it to us, one, it doesn't read like other sequential art. It reads like you're on a tablet and you're following along on a video game. It's got like, choose your character screen and all that stuff. And then the characters interact like they're, on a game chat. So that was really unique. And each book is a level of the video game. It's all a pop culture love letter, that Gabe's created. So with each book, he's using a different illustrator to kind of tell a different style of tale. So it's gone. The first one was very video game heavy. The second one, there's kind of like an homage Godzilla, King Kong kind of sequence. So the art was more geared toward that. And then Digital Lizard's book, Doom 3. This one has a much more like manga feel, and it's like a lot brighter colors, a lot more pinks, purples, and stuff like that. So Carrie Langell that's doing that art. So it's really fun to see that change, and book 4 is already in production, and that one has much more of a fantasy Dungeons and Dragons type feel, and the art is done in that in that vein. So
it's already done.
It's in production. It's so that's one of the other things that we're learning how to do is plan things 6, 12, 18 months out.
Wow, nice.
Yeah,
I have the video queued up here. It's 2.5 minutes. What do you guys think? Should I play this thing? Can I play it, please? Can I?
Go for it.
All right.
Fine by me.
Share screen audio. Yeah.
Trying to think what we have. It's 2.5 minutes long.
It's pretty good. Now, out of all of these things, is it?
Lord,
yeah, here it is.
I'm staring into infinity.
It's crazy. All right, see if this works.
Ooh, yeah, there's my homeworld of Craglodon where I grew up. And there's me and my bestie Klugus. She's always giving me crap about something. Oh, hey, welcome, new homies. My name is Dizzy Doom, and I'm one of the heroes, the best hero of the Digital Lizards of Doom universe. I guess I'm supposed to give you a tour of the DLOD world, huh? Creator and writer Mr. Gateman, dude, has built this beautiful love letter, Saturday morning cartoons, video games, and science fiction movies. Ernie Nahara brings me and my crew to life with his mighty pencil and inking skills. And Margot Pro Dawn makes us look like cool cat city slicker butt kickers. Speaking of cats, here's my pirate friend, Fat Cat Rogers. Yeah, he's a cyborg cat pirate, kind of tight. Okay, let me tell you more about what makes Digital Lizards of Doom so rad. For one, the entire adventure takes place in a fictional world that exists in a virtual tablet, where the reader gets to experience the story from the point of view of the characters and their communication in a text-to-text format, complete with their own emoticons, so every emotion is clear and precise. Nextly, the entire world is built and set up like an adventure RPG, a place that feels ever-evolving yet linear in its storytelling, with purpose, attention to detail, and a strong focus on character growth. Even nextlier, each book will play out like an adventure game, where the focus remains on the title character of the book. For example, Book 1 or Level 1 being Dizzy Doom, me. Level 2 being another character, and so on and so on. The story will proceed as it's read, but each main character will have their moment to shine. And lastliest, Digital Lizards of Doom has its own band. The band brings a Saturday morning-style adventure into venues all over the world, where attendees can battle for justice with myself, Dizzy Doom, or join the evil robot commander Echo. Each month, the band produces new content that brings a whole new level of storytelling, never before witnessed in any physical or metaphysical books. Enjoy this epic fantasy adventure for the laughs and the thrills, or dig deeper to uncover the mysteries that will either spell out victory or certain doom. Alright, well, I'm gonna go get back to eating pineapples and saving the universe. See you around, homies!
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's so. So, I don't know if I told you guys earlier backstage. I can't remember, but like, you know, when I first met Gabe, we're unpacking all this stuff for LA Comic Con. It was the first time I met him in person, and I knew he had the music. I knew he had that he was, you know, trying to push some animated series stuff. And I'm like unloading this big box, and I was like, what do you have in this box? And he's like, oh, it's the puppets for the puppet show. And I was like, of course, why wouldn't there be puppets? Like,
yeah, right.
You know, like, and
It's amazing.
and we get into the hotel room. The second we walk in, like, dude puts like cartoons on. You know, cartoons are always in the background. He falls asleep to cartoons. He wakes up to cartoons. And like, so I forgot about that tagline for, you know, those who, you know, refuse to grow up. It just couldn't be any like more appropriate of a way of, you know, describing him, because you know, he tries, you know, it really has that like Adventure Time feel where it's like it's for, you know, it's all ages, but like, you know, like it's, you know, it's stuff that we can enjoy as well, you know, it's because it's just really cool, and like, you know, still has that same vibe that we all love.
That's
It
awesome.
looks wicked, man. I really like what I've seen.
So that was the second one, the promo for the second, yeah?
That was actually the promo for the first one.
For the first. Whoa, so that's like going back a ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But the nice part, is that, you know, as we kind of grow, you know, these launches, for a lot of people, it's their first time seeing any of the books. So, you know, at this point, you know, not only will they be able to get book 3, but a lot of people, you know, they'll be like, oh, I haven't heard about this at all. So they can get all 3 books. So it's like, they don't have the same torture as me as having to wait, you know, like having, you know, it's like, it's like finding an awesome TV show, and it's already 3 seasons in. So you're like, oh, I got a lot of binging to do.
Yeah, man. I'm still waiting on like 3 authors to finish books that are like 7 years running now.
Yeah, that could definitely be a challenge, just sitting there waiting. So, but
so when does the third Kickstarter kick off?
So it's going to be in 10 days. So the 29th of March is when we're going to launch. And then it's already done. We're in editing right now. It's a pretty beast of an editing process, because you have the illustrator, there's a graphic designer, and then there's a separate illustrator that does all the emoticons and like the in-game chat portion of it.
These are big page counts too, right? Like I'm just talking about from the editing point of view. That's quite a task.
Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things. We didn't have a dedicated editor until we started working on this book, and then like the stars aligning. There was a person, she graduated with a master's in publishing, like from the college right close to where I live. She reached out and was like, hey, you guys looking for an editor? And it was like, oh, thank you. Thank you for showing up in my life. So
heaven sent.
So the nice part is that because she's local, most of us are spread all over the country and in other countries. There's 14 of us across the U.S. and then one that's in Spain, one in Canada, and one in Argentina. And but our editor's like lives 5 minutes away from me, and so we get to go get tacos and talk about, you know, cyborg cat pirates, and
Very good.
zombie
Best
ninjas.
coffee conversation ever.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah, we're all sort of geographically located a little more centrally than that. We do have some people on the project from outside of Canada as well. Chad can speak to that.
Yeah, we've kind of spanned into multiple countries as well, so which is great. The creative teams that we have has grown quite a bit, and it's more like piecework right now, where you're piecing out bits and pieces right now until we can get a little bit more of a system going with the back end and the production of the books.
You need a slush fund, man. You need some money going forward, right? That's
Well,
what it really all comes down to.
Basically, yeah. When you start it from the ground up, and it's there can be some challenges, right? And we're looking forward to the adventure and the journey along the way, and accepting those challenges as they come. So it's part of being, I guess, a publisher is being resilient, right? And jumping on those opportunities. So
Yeah, it takes from my perspective, it just takes a ton of groundwork from trust building and whatnot, because we work with everybody virtually. Very few of us have actually met in person. We're looking forward to doing more conventions. LA Comic-Con was the first time that 6 of us got to meet in the same room at the same time.
Nice.
But there's still 2/3 of the team that haven't experienced that yet. And then, having to, anytime that somebody, pours so much effort into something, like a comic book, most people just don't understand how long comic books take to produce,
absolutely.
to put much love and dedication into something, and just, with a complete and total stranger, it definitely takes a lot of trust and empathy and understanding.
For sure. Yeah, it is an amazing journey though, when connecting with people, and yeah, it's fantastic. It's brought a lot of great people in and through the doors, and more and more people keep on connecting with us as well. And the community seems to be getting smaller. Like tomorrow, we're actually a friend of mine are heading down to Toronto and going to the Fanfare Comic-Con. So it should be nice this will be my first experience too. And very much like you, I came from a family that wasn't able to afford comics growing up. We'd be able to buy them at the variety store and do things. I'm fairly late to the game as well, where, I was just basically feeding in with the comics and the TV shows like X-Men's and Spider-Man and things like that. That grew my passion as well. So when the opportunity came, like I went to school for illustration. I basically dabbled in illustration, then kind of jumped into it after a turn of events as well. Like I used to be part of some of the Los Angeles art show scene about 10-15 years ago, where I used to actually tour and show in some of the galleries down in Los Angeles, and went to school for illustration. And that's basically my step into this realm of illustration. And I don't know, I just like being part of this whole culture, and I think it's a fantastic culture to be a part of. And it's brought us almost a full circle, because some of the people that were there, like Bob Little, he grew up across the street from me. He went to school for illustration as well. And it just became a full circle. Daryl lived just down the street as well. It's great when you can reconnect. Liam connecting online through, just basically like a chat board. And it's an amazing community. And I love being in the front lines, and meeting people and seeing people and exchanging just pictures or drawing or doodling, or, just having fun and enjoying it. So
Like I've gotten really comfortable using this whole digital interface, because as long as you can see somebody, then it's good. And you can have the files there digitally, and you can send them while you're talking. It's the same as passing it over a desk. So you don't necessarily have to be in the same office. And of course, it helps if you are. But I mean, our horizons are broadened. Like, I want to move down to Florida. So I'm in the process of doing that. It's going to be a slow move. But when I go down, things aren't going to change that much. We'll still be able to keep on working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like the
pretty great.
super hand talker. All I want to do is talk with my hands, right? Like, what do I do with my hands while I'm talking?
Hey.
Like waving my arms like Kermit the Frog here. Like the puppet. I made a series of plush dolls back in, I don't know, would have been around 2008 or so. And I made a whole bunch of plush toys, and they're pretty fun. I love the Muppets and things like that. It's probably one of my favorite shows. Like,
Yeah, you gotta love the Muppets, man.
Absolutely.
What's not to love?
yeah. And Bob and Daryl
Alice
are
Cooper
actually-
was on the Muppets.
What's that?
I said Alice Cooper went on the Muppets, man. What's not to love?
Then he started eating their heads and pulling them
Yeah,
off.
right.
I like the Fraggles. The Fraggles were really good.
Yeah,
Fraggle Rock?
yeah, Fraggle Rock. Yep, that was another good one.
The Superman.
I gotta say, they made those buildings, like the buildings were always made of crystal or something like that, and they would eat them. They actually made
They look
like
tasty.
crystal look tasty. It looked like it was sugar. or
Yeah,
something.
for real.
It was.
Yep.
But Bob
Users or
and
whatever.
Daryl are
Sorry,
our creators of our next book that's coming out on May 1st, The Fatal Charades, which is actually a high fantasy, and man, the writing and the illustrations are awesome, and we're really excited about this book. I think it's gonna really propel Tardigrade into a better foothold in the indie publishing as well, and will help with some of our other lines that are coming out, which is great. So, and they're a great team of characters, and
Yeah. I can't wait to see the reception of it. We like you guys, we were pretty much done the book before we even started the Kickstarter process. Me and Bob just kind of dedicated our time to it. We've been friends for like almost 30 years. Jesus.
It's grade 3, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. It's been a while, man.
I'm trying to find it here.
So this
There it
is our first. Yeah, that's Bob's first cover ever, I guess, and it's friggin'
For
fantastic.
our, I did one cover for Sasquatch.
Oh right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. For
Yeah.
our project, but yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
It's ridiculous. Like, it's so good.
I know, and man, you know, black and white book. It is. We went that way because we were being a little conservative about our resources and our reach. You know, we didn't know how far or whatever was going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. It's almost done now. We have one more touch base with our letterer, and then we're ready, I think, for print pretty much.
Yeah, you know, I think it's always good to do, you know, with black and white. So the first book we did was black and white, just because we did a couple of things. We did minis where we said, okay, let's just make a 6-page book. Let's make an 8-page book, and we just kept increasing that way. One, there's a lot to be said just by finishing a project, because there's so much. You know, the first big batch of books we printed didn't have our website printed anywhere on there, so there's like those kind of lessons to be learned. But then also like the gradual growth of learning how to use, you know, even the artistic resources, right? Like, you know, so we did the first book that Charlie did with us. She did just black, white, and hot pink. You know, so it was a lot less daunting to only work with 3 colors, and it ended up coming out really good. Then
I love the stylization on that one.
No way. That is so cool. So you limited your options so it was more approachable, and then that's how you got through it. I just did the same thing. I did a 6-page comic, and it was the hardest thing I've like artistically hardest thing I've ever done. And I've done murals that lasted 6 months, and this was like just grueling. It was so. And I'm only in first draft. Like, I just finished the first draft. That's so great, man. Like, that's so that you did it the same way. Just limit your options, get it done, get that feeling of success under your belt, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, and then Andrea, he did LKC number 7, and then his choice on that was, you know, it's a it's a black and white that through most of it, and then at a certain point in the story, there's a psychedelic experience, so he goes
nice.
cover, color, and goes, kind of nuts on that. So I think, you don't have, you can, just the presence or absence of color and sometimes can do a lot for the storytelling.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think Bob working, I think it was limiting for you a little bit, wasn't it, Bob?
Yeah, it was tough at times for sure. But like once we committed to it, it's like, okay, I know it's gonna be black and white, right? So it's like, for me, it was just like problem solving constantly. Like, how could I make this work just black and white, knowing that there's not gonna be any color with it? It was a cool challenge.
I'll show a couple of pictures of it here while you're talking. Keep going.
Cool. No, I remember saying to Chad, like, it just felt like every page was like a problem solving challenge. But yeah, we just consciously decided we wanted to keep it modest, keep it like doable. So yeah, I just really tried to work the contrast, get lots of like just solid blacks in there, and
that looks awesome, man. That looks so dope.
Like, look at these characters. I love this guy's face.
Yeah, that dude's name is Nath.
Daryl.
I loved it. It's such a repulsive name, and he's a repulsive guy. So
it's just not Nath, it's Nath.
Yeah,
like the use of blacks. Like, I love this. When I picture this is what I picture here. Is this
right?
That's so strong, dude.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I'm really stoked for this Kickstarter, man. When this thing comes out, I hope it does well.
It'll do well.
Oh yeah.
And art for sequential art is such a different beast, and that's actually been one of the reasons we've been able to expand kind of quickly. Is there's an artist who hasn't done a ton of sequential art, and she was like, I want to make comics, so we're working on a script together, and she's kind of like using it as this is my first comic that I'm going to make, and we give her a portion of the story that doesn't have to be released very soon, so that whenever she gets to it and gets it done and stuff like that, then we can release it. She's actually the one that did one of the variant covers for LKC number 7. So for this book, instead of that one, she did a cover that looks like this.
so wicked.
Nice.
Yeah. And
That's
that's also
so
nice
fun.
too, to try out different artists to say, hey, do a variant cover with us, and we see how much we enjoy working together in that experience, and then then do a mini comic with us, and then do because luckily everybody that we worked with, we've enjoyed that experience, but sometimes it's just not a good fit, just people don't have the same communication style or whatever, we actually have
building too, right?
We had one guy he's been working on a book for us for a really, really long time. He's kind of just, he's been torturing himself with is it good enough? And in the meantime, we discovered that he's an exceptionally good colorist, and so now he's doing primarily he's doing colors for us.
Nice.
They torturing himself. He can't finish the inks on this page, and then meanwhile he's just knocking out colors left and right for other artists. I think you got a future in that, dude.
That's awesome, because we connected with a 16-year-old artist, man, and this kid just started inking, and he's crushing it. Like, he's amazing. His name's Alan Moda, and he lives in Brazil, and we threw him some pages and he did some stuff, and like David Finch is like showing him on his channel and stuff and giving him lots of props, and he's a pretty wicked little inker. So
yeah, man, talent's everywhere
for sure. And we also brought in another artist from Wisconsin. Is it Wisconsin? Did I get that right? But it
might be Milwaukee.
It's his first comic book ever, so he's going to be in a lineup of books that's coming out shortly as well. We're also working with another independent as well, Christopher Runsman, who runs Runsman Press, and he is a well-seasoned artist who's produced a lot of indie content and also done a lot of functions about basically doing page art where they go, an artist does part of a panel and then passes it on to another artist, and then they do another panel and another panel. I'd like I'm not driving, so it's challenging for me to get these types of events, but I'd love to go. And he's working on basically a rehash of the Sasquatch Klondike storyline, but under a new title, The Dawn of Sasquatch, New Beginnings. And that should be really interesting because his style is so different than, well, like my style, because I illustrated the first 2 Sasquatch books. And but it would be nice to have like somebody come in like as a colorist, because I can tell you right now that it was definitely a him and Han thing. We just released our last book was the color book. Like I have it right here from the printer, and let's see here.
It's so
So this cover was done by a friend of mine that I met while I was living in Vancouver, and we worked together. He's in Germany now. His name's Andrew Tong, and he's an exceptional painter. And
Which is obvious because that is exceptional painting.
yeah. Like, the artist that did obviously the sequential pages did a really good job as well. So
Yeah.
and then this is just my first job with the coloring, and I got to tell you, I'm not really into the coloring.
Come on, man. Be fair to yourself.
I think
That's
you
not-
did a good job, man.
That's
I
great.
That
think,
looks great, man.
You had to learn.
Oh, I'm totally learning. I had fun, but I just want to draw.
Yeah, dude.
Right. So we got our vices and the things that we want to do and things we want to
Yeah.
focus on. So
Yep. I find promotion is like one of those things that's harder for me. Having an online presence, trying to build that, it's not in my wheelhouse generally. I'm an introvert. I like to write in a bubble by myself and then wait till my project feels perfect and then reveal it to people, and it doesn't always work out that way. And you gotta be ahead of the game so much in this to prepare people, to get people on board for what you're producing. So
and Daryl is the writer of that book as well. So
Vikings, yeah. Yeah, that was a fun book to write. Chad came to me with the idea. He's like, I want a war between Vikings and Sasquatches. And I was like, this sounds like a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun to write. It's just an action book basically. But I'm proud of what we accomplished. I think we did pretty good, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was it was a path, a journey, and that whole growing part of life, right? So
and huge for me for script writing, for just learning the process, because like I had to learn how to communicate with my letterer, how to communicate with the colorist, or you know what I mean, like just to add that stuff in, because the Fatal Charades, the first script, I mean, I left the letterer hanging a lot because I didn't add the onomatopoeia in or the sound effects a whole lot. So that was the thing I had to do.
Does everyone else know that word?
Yeah. Words like
Pancake?
thud and swish and slash.
So we used we have a couple letters we use. We use a guy by the name Micah Myers, and he's got a bunch of stuff under his belt. And then a guy Justin, but he goes by Letter Squids, and him in particular, like we tried to give him free reign because like he's definitely put sound effects in there that I didn't put in there. And these are awesome, man. Like, thank you so
that's
much.
the exact same experience I had. It was like, yeah, thank you so much. You made this so much cooler, and that's such a nice feeling.
Yeah, I use a lot of the Marvel method too, depending on the illustrator that's working on the stuff that I'm writing. So that, so Andrea, that's psychedelic, sequence that showed you, like I didn't really tell him what that was going to look like. I kind of said, well, it's going to start here, it's going to end here, whatever you want to build that space in between looks like, how many pages you want to do. I'm happy with that. That seems to give the illustrators a lot of energy to have free space. And as I learned the different illustrators and what they like to draw, Franco, one of our guys, he likes blood guts and all that stuff. So, hey, the henchmen entered the scene on page 6. Have at them. They're all gonna die. And then I actually get to experience what the reader gets, because it's my only chance where I don't know what's really going to happen in my own script. And I got those pages back from him and I was like, oh my God, just I couldn't, so that's been really fun.
Yeah, Bob and I had that experience too.
We've bounced around with a few different methods where we've come in with full scripts detailing every panel and stuff like that. And that's the way that certain writers had written some of the books, and it was like panel by panel, scene by scene, how they see it, and then illustrating that. And then other ways were kind of like the Marvel method, where there's an outline, this is the outline, the artist comes in, they draw the panels, then the writer comes back and then fills it through. Like that's how the Sasquatch Viking book ended up coming to fruition, was more of that Marvel method in the tweaking. And then there's another, like Thaddeus and I are working on another book called Complex Dimension. And that's kind of the same way, where there's an outline. He's kind of left it in my hands for drawing and freeing up the illustrations. And then he's coming back and then kind of filling the dialogue behind it. So that's a pretty interesting book too. I think.
Yeah, that's one to look out for. It looks cool, man. So I'm enjoying it. So that's what it's all about, right? Just having fun, hanging with your buddies, drawing, connecting, being, white and nerdy, basically. I just think of Weird Al's song, right?
At its best, it can go badly too, but I find that it's just worth it. Like, I've been a fine artist for a number of years. I started selling my work online in like the early 2000s. And it's nice. Like it's okay to be a lone wolf and going and doing your thing, but this is so much more fun. Like you're dealing with people who are better than you in so many ways. And it's like, when you're alone, you can kind of get into this headspace where you think you're the best, and like your ego becomes this issue. And it's like you're beneath doing this and whatever. And I think this just really humbles you, like totally. Mark, you've been in the military for like a number of years, so like humility comes with that territory. I heard you mention something about that in an interview. Yeah.
I mean, they remind you right off the bat how not special you are. It's team. It's really that team first mentality. And one of the things that we insist on. And everybody on our team has really adapted to it. I think we've only had one experience where somebody couldn't hang with, our work culture, because our work culture is like, I don't really care what you're doing, your success is as an individual creator, if you're not improving, the person to the left and right of you. If you're not doing something to help the other people on the team, then I just don't think this is going to be a good fit for you, because you can go fast on your own, but you're going to go farther as a group. I have a lot of faith in where we're going to get as a company. My biggest concern, and we talk about this almost every team meeting we have, is just like, what's important is how we feel about each other and how we feel about ourselves when we get there. Do we want to experience a bunch of success, but not be able to feel good about our friendships and relationships that we have within the team. And we had one negative experience where there was some conflict or whatever, with somebody who doesn't, work in the team. But the benefit on that, on that, once, that person no longer, kept doing comics with us, is the rest of the team like felt what it was like to, have some, it helped them appreciate, the value of that team, and like the level of camaraderie just shot through the roof, and the amount of support that they all give each other when people are having, just like a bad day, hey, I'm not getting along with my roommate, or, we had creators whose, partners broke up with them or whatever. Right. And just seeing everybody swarm to their support, and be there for each other. It always like warms my heart when I find out that, like, for example, on New Year's, I didn't know this, but like a bunch of like my team members were like Zoom calling each other and like, just like, wishing each other like Happy New Year's. And I was just like, oh, they're friends, like I love them all so much.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Family, man. That's what it kind of comes out as, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get together and nerd out and play D&D, and we're trying to get one of these nights if we can calculate the exact time and date that works with the schedule.
They invited me out, and I couldn't
that's
make
tough.
it. I couldn't make it. I gotta make it out there, man, before I
We're
go
just
down.
last minute, right? We're like, oh yeah, we could do it. Let's go.
Yeah, this Saturday. Yeah. Well, I mean, so I have a daughter. Bob has kids. Bob's a full-time teacher. Chad has kids. Liam lives far away. It's not easy.
I got a daughter too. She's
coordinate.
18.
Yeah. Sorry, I forget sometimes because like you got the grown-up one.
My wife has 3 kids.
Are you the oldest, Chad?
Damn, that kid, he eats a lot.
I heard he can draw pretty good.
Yeah.
Your eldest. Yeah. Man,
No,
I had the pleasure of doing an alternate cover for one of Chad's books here. I just got it on hook here. Let me show you this thing real quick.
Oh, it's sexy.
This is my. Oh wait, I didn't do that today. There we go. Now I did. Yeah, there we go. I'm happy with this guy.
Yeah.
He came out all right. He's kind of like
Beautiful.
Simon Bisley-esque, I did the green light, the second light sources and stuff, and I had a great time doing this. So that's gonna be an alternate cover for Sasquatch Vikings.
Yeah.
you just totally dropped the whole the mystery bomb.
Was that supposed to be a mystery?
People weren't supposed to know.
All right. It was a few seconds of exposure.
I'm too excited about it.
Yeah, it looks wicked, man. It looks awesome.
For sure.
Gabe's gonna love that. He the Digital Lizard Doom creator, because when we're at LA Comic-Con, like he, it's like, hey, we got stuff to do and we're busy and all that stuff, and then we lost him for like an hour and a half. We couldn't pull him away from the Conan the Barbarian stuff. Like he was just like at that. He was just like, all right, Gabe, we got places to go, we got things to do, and he's like, just so that that piece is beautiful, and he's gonna be nerding out over that super hard.
Yeah, it is awesome.
That's awesome.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Every single artist who's worked on Conan is like legendary to me. Like John Buscema, Simon Bisley did a bunch of them. Mark Silvestri did some as well. And there's like a bunch of other crazy guys, but those are the ones that just like they kill me, man. Like it.
Some of the
there's
newer
nothing-
ones too, man.
I wanna write a Conan. You know what I mean? Draw one.
Yeah.
It doesn't live in that whole world.
Fantastic
so
art, man. I liked Becky Cloonan's version of it. Like a newer Dark Horse one. Newer as in like not like crazy old like John Buscema or anything like that. But yeah, Becky Cloonan's take was awesome. I really like that.
Yeah, you showed me
check
some of
that out.
that. That was cool.
Yeah.
I love the sword and sorcery world. That's my friggin' wheelhouse. So Conan is right in there for me.
Here, I'll show you my little Bigfoot thing that I was made the one day.
Please.
We'll do. It's like share and tell right now.
Absolutely.
share screen. Oh, here it is. Sorry, it's a little bit smaller because it was made as a digital web cover.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, me too.
It was just a fun little piece.
That's so rad.
Yeah.
It's sorry, gets a little pixely if I decide to blow it up, but
Those guys are having the best time in the morning right now.
it's actually a group hammering through a pine stand or whatever, right? So, and then it's kind of like the person witnessing the group coming through, because it's kind of based off of like somebody's eyewitness encounter or whatever. So I was kind of like doing it like first person. So
Yeah, that
That's
light
cool,
looks
man.
amazing though. That was great work.
well, thank you. And
Good times. Good
digital
times.
digital painting fun. So, but no,
So Mark, did you sorry, Mark, did you write, draw? What did you have any hand in this latest comic?
With like the Digital Lizards of Doom or
Yeah.
No,
Is
it's
it all Gabriel's?
yeah. So he's doing all the right. There's a couple folks that are doing the help with the writing and producing and stuff. So Chance Boren, he's actually he's worked on things like Transformers and Metal Gear Solid, all that stuff. So he does have some help in there, and then most of my role has been really just on the business end of that. But we're actually really excited because he's got a lot of plans for one shots and things like that. So because he's got that all ages audience, we were talking about putting our main character, Danny in one of his one shots, because she's got a foul mouth and all that stuff. So her being in this universe where she can't swear or whatever, and having her looking at her own word bubbles where it's like the asterisks and
Come
pounds
on, that's
breaking the
like,
fourth wall.
Yeah. He also, everyone drinks, pineapple juice and things like that rather than any alcoholic beverages at like a bar and stuff like that. So like having her be like, oh yes, a bar. And then just like, what can I get you? And it's just like only pineapple juice or something on the menu. And she's just like, just like losing it. So
Nice.
yeah, those types of ideas. So he's got 8 books planned. So the 8th book is the boss fight, in Digital
Awesome.
So probably 2024 is before those, all wrap up. So it's some long-term planning, but I know he's like, can't wait to do a lot of spinoffs. And then, same thing with a couple of the other creators. It's just because they're having so much fun with the rest of the team members that they say, well, can I do something in your universe? So they're talking about all these one-offs and spinoffs and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I mean, it lifts the whole boat, right? Like lifts the ship for everybody when you have that inner culture, which is cool. I think we're trying to build that too.
for sure.
Yeah, the whole tardigrade press thing has like an internal cohesiveness. There's like a whole world, the biologicals. Yeah.
There's a couple connected strings there. So
Yeah, that's our sci-fi, more of our science fiction oriented style stuff, and it's pretty fun, man. It's all Chad's brainchild, but he asked me to help out with some of the writing for it. It's been a blast.
That's
I love
awesome.
sci-fi too. So like, it's being a nerd and then getting to do the nerd stuff where you build the nerd stuff is like the best job in the world, I have to say.
for sure.
It's been so surprisingly rewarding too to have somebody else write with my characters. So I did this
Interesting.
one. This is the Death Wish book. It's actually like a wraparound cover.
That's awesome.
It's,
Cool. Chad did one of those.
But
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Very
I
cool.
brought on another writer, and so he was helping me with as I was working on book 2. He started on 3 and 4, and I was just like, "Oh, you've got it! Like I can just stop."
Oh, just as a writer, I just wanted to. Was that hard to let go of your characters and let somebody else take it? Like, I feel like it would be hard for me.
You know, I think maybe because I'm doing so much of the business end that I felt like a negligent
Fair
parent, and just I was seeing what he was coming back with, and I was just like, oh wow, you know, and you know, we'll still work on it, you know. So even if he comes back with a script, you know, I'll probably give notes and be like, hey, I think we should do this or whatever. But I found that just super rewarding to see somebody else kind of get inspired with your idea and run with it in a direction that maybe I didn't, you know.
That does sound very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that experience yet, but maybe someday in the future.
So Mark, I know you mostly from, I've been following your Instagram for like, I think a year or close to that, somewhere around there. And what I see you do mostly on Instagram, by the way, the links are in the description for the video. And your Instagram is great. Every time you're on there, you're promoting someone's work. You're on there like saying what's new and stuff, and always with this smile on your face and like this like kind of gentle looking guy, you know. So what are you doing? Is that like what Instagram is for you, or do you promote your own work there, or what?
Yeah, I mean, some of the books, you know, hopefully it doesn't really, hopefully, you know, there's at least, seems like there's the same level, I guess, of care, you know, between my books and other people's books. There shouldn't be much a distinction between, you know, what, you know, I'm talking about it. And I think whatever you invest in this indie comic scene, you know, going out, it comes back, you know, tenfold, because, you know, we try and do things to promote even the stuff that's not being published through lesser known comics, you know, and we're trying to do more fun things like at conventions. We have this idea of having like a bingo card or a scavenger hunt card for the rest of the creators that are at that convention with us that we like, you know, like go find these ones and you get something at the end of it if you look at it, because you know, this scene is just so great. And if they, you know, whatever you give out, it's just so it comes back not just from like the promotion and advertising part, but also just like the energy. Like you sometimes just having a crap day, and then it just takes one good comment from like a fellow creator, you know, that's like, hey, I really like this, and you're like, oh my god, you know, like I'm not a terrible failure that should just hide in my closet and cry, you know, like you just it just lifts you up so much.
Yeah, and it's so much better having like the real human connection with someone that you know, rather than having your like emotions affected by social media or comments or, you know, where you are with the algorithm. Because my goodness, that's demoralizing.
Yeah,
for me
anyway.
anyway.
I pulled myself away from it, right? So I needed a break from social media, but I'm also not the best one-on-one promoter with. I just don't understand the technology is the greatest, you know, which, you know, kind of puts me kind of in between a rock and a hard place, but I just have fun and post what I can do, right? So
Chad's got lots of hustle though when it comes down to
I'm good. I'm good with
face-to-face
person-in-person stuff.
Yeah,
right?
you do great with that stuff, man. You've built a little network for us. It's been
I like
awesome.
going to the local comic book shops and talking to the owners and doing that kind of stuff. That's the kind of footwork I like. I like in-person footwork. So it's been an adjustment for me having to talk to somebody in a digital realm, right? So like, because everything, even video games back in the day, they were all person in person. You know, you had your buddy beside you while you're elbowing them trying to play video games, right? Like, you know,
cover their eyes, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Madden.
But a different way. There is one thing that I would like to do is I'd like to show you like a promo video that I made of like the Fatal Charades for anybody out there. This is just a promo. It's not really refined. There's no music or anything like that, but the final video will be launched on the Kickstarter.
Early stages.
It's just something I wanted to share with everybody. So you
do it, man.
All right.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
That's so rad.
Those parallax effects are so good. Like
and there's so much cool art that we can fold into that process.
That's so cool.
And it's going to be awesome because I hadn't even
That's
always
why I got a little bit of courage juice here.
Yeah. So with the way like some of those, I completely lost track of what I was saying.
Fatal Charades, movement parallax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff going on. So
I think you were talking about how those were from the older pages, right? You hadn't seen
Yeah,
any of
and
like the newer
thanks,
ones.
Bob. And I hadn't even seen the newer stuff. And when Bob showed me the other day, like the link to the drive, and oh man, so, like you don't even know what to say. Sometimes you're just looking at it in complete like amazement. You know, you need time to process it in your brain before you can actually start speaking the words. So,
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I don't know
Mark?
if you guys get stuck in it too. It's like, for as much stuff as you have out there, like the amount of stuff that hasn't been released yet, or you know, the stuff that you only got pencils for, and you're just like, there's so much more.
Yeah.
It's like I just want to get it out
Absolutely.
there. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, me and Bob have another project planned, another kind of fantasy thing, and like I'm so psyched to get it started because it just fits in. I don't know. It's going to be such a fun story to tell. I'm psyched for that, man. Like the joy I get from that book, I can already feel it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's
Hey.
the book in the back wings that I haven't even started coloring yet because I'm kind of dreading coloring it. I'd rather like to source it, but I haven't met the right colorist or found anybody right. So
I have the ideas that it's like they're so out there that I'm not sure if anyone wants to draw it. So like, you know, Escape from Your Mom's Basement. That's one of the ones. You know, a guy.
Nice.
He's got his anime body pillow. It's like Weird Science. You know, he brings it to life. She's horrified of what her existence is, that she was a body pillow, and like, you know, then it turns into kind of like misery. She's got to escape from his mom's basement, and you know, that's where she's trapped in.
Dude, that sounds amazing.
And it's just
Wow.
That needs to be drawn. The world
Yeah.
needs
Yeah.
to see that.
You know,
That's
we're-
great.
we're soliciting artists. So yeah, sure.
Jeez, man.
I need to go
All right.
back into my character illustration style and just dig out my like style illustration stuff.
Yeah.
I actually
You got
have
some crazy
to
stuff for
back out of the
ideas.
chat now, guys. I have some other obligations that I have to get to. So it was really nice to meet you, Mark. Thanks so
Yeah,
much
you
for
too.
kind
So
of
much.
crossing wires with us and stuff, man. And the best of luck to you guys in the future, okay?
All right. Thank you so
Take
much.
it easy, Daryl.
All right.
Yeah.
Good night, boys.
Nice. Mark, there's something I've been meaning to pick your brain about. You mentioned in an interview that Instagram was kind of the start to your business in some way or other, or there was the start of something in regards to you making comics. Does that make sense, or am I getting that right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, focused on Instagram as a platform just by the, you know, I didn't understand TikTok. You know, Facebook kind of has, you know, that kind of, you know, negative political landscape that you know, a lot of people trying to avoid right now, and Twitter is a mystery to me. So, you know, Instagram is primarily, you know, where I'm at. So, you know, most of the messages coming into the Lesser Known Comics account are hitting me for that, and that's mostly where we find, you know, new artists. You know, so I you know, find stuff, you know, from them and say, oh, you know, is this something, you know, would you be willing to do something with us? So yeah, Instagram's been certainly the primary platform in that regard.
It's definitely been one of the main ways that I've connected with a lot of people, because you just drop somebody a message and it's amazing how responsive some people are, just out of the blue, right? Like I've even dropped messages to Eastman and stuff like that, because I hear like he can even respond randomly to just random people, right? So yeah, I've definitely sent out those, you know, you never know, right? You send it out into the universe and maybe you'll something will come back.
I messaged Lee Weeks, who's one of my heroes. He's an artist who did Daredevil and a bunch of like older like Marvel comics. Do you know who I'm talking about? Lee Weeks?
No.
No? Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, he's like John Buscema, Mark Silvestri. He's like really good. He does amazing figures, super action. And he messaged me back, and here I am talking with one of my heroes, like real life on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like it just freaked me out.
That freaked me out like one time when, I was looking for a work placement, and I ended up talking to Hunter S. Thompson on the phone, like while I'm trying to find on Rolling Stone magazine. I was looking for like a work placement.
So I got a Gabe story. We once again at LA Comic Con. So first weekend hanging out with him, and I go to bed at I think it was at 11 or something like that, and 11 p.m. and I wake up in the morning 6 a.m. and then I had noticed in my phone, like right around between midnight and 1, I have just a million missed calls from Gabe. And if you have a million missed calls from somebody in the middle of the night, like your first assumption is like something bad happened, or oh great, this guy got like arrested or something, whatever. And he was in the hotel lobby and he had met Frank Miller, and he's just hanging out with Frank Miller. He's like pocket dialing me, trying to be like, get down here.
Man.
I'm just sleeping through the whole thing. And I took a picture with him. They talked about his book, and then funny because Digital Lizard is very different from the stuff that Frank Miller created, but the fact that he was very cool and spent some time talking to Gabe and stuff like that. It was just like really cool, and I just slept through all of it, and I was like, oh.
It happens. Oh man, wow.
Yeah, but that would be something exciting for sure, because definitely.
Who are the guys you'd want to speak to, like the 3 top people you'd want to have a conversation with, who are alive or dead? Doesn't matter, but preferably alive. Mark?
So Alan Moore would be on the be really high on that list, and we're actually hoping, because we're going to an occult convention that's in his hometown in Northampton, because apparently he's really into the occult, and we're working on this whole tarot deck thing. So we're actually planning on doing stuff in that space. That would be amazing. And then I spent a lot of time in the X-Men, types. So Chris Claremont, everything, and and I think from just his role in the comic community, Todd McFarlane would be, got to be on top of that list as well, just because somebody who absolutely rocked the entire industry at a certain, so
It still is.
Yeah.
The Todd father, who sounds like Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd.
One of our guys from Toronto, so Doug Knight, Cross-Eyed Comics. So they're essentially going to operate like an imprint of us. And Doug's got a super inspirational story. He met Todd McFarlane when he was in the hospital as a kid, because he had a brain a tumor that impacted his vision. So he's actually legally blind, but he still draws comics super close to his.
Cool.
Yeah, we were on an interview show together before we started working together, and everyone was like, "Oh, how'd you get into comics?" And he told his like harrowing story, like right before me, and I was like, "Next time you go last, dude. Like, would you, come on."
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. I got to connect with this guy. Like, if he's right in Toronto.
Yeah.
What's the name? Sorry, what's the name? It's Cross something?
Cross-Eye Comics. Doug Knight, like Dragons and Knights or something, but yeah,
that's funny, because I know a guy named Ryan Knight, and he's a writer,
mm-hmm.
and he has that same ocular degenerative, like it might be from the same thing, but same thing, like he has vision, but it's like close up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he'll joke and be like, and people be like, "Oh yeah, do you remember me?" And he's like, "Not unless you were standing like this close to me."
Might remember your deodorant.
I remember your nose.
Yeah, but just
Bob,
another person came in and just started just being such a delight, and started just chatting up everybody,
awesome.
On the team, and super encouraging to everybody's work and stuff like that.
Cool.
And you know what? You probably know some of the people that I know through like connecting with some of the distributors through Toronto as well, right? So
Mhm.
because it is really like kind of a small community, it's just, kind of getting those neural networks connected, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things we're trying to work on too, though, is, so I got a good friend. She's working on a whole series on her own. And she's a Black creator out of San Francisco. And we kept talking about, oh, do you know this person? Do you know this person? And then we realized how much of like a bifurcation there is in the scene of like, Black creators and almost the rest of the community. So trying to bridge some of that as well this year and stuff like that, because there's a whole, and I think also in, the Hispanic creator scene and stuff like that. And I don't think it's any of it's, deliberate or whatever. I think it's just in terms of like people tend to create, things based on their experience and stuff like that, and are drawn into super, similar experiences. But I'm always blown away by, there's always some rock to flip over, and you just find, this whole gold mine of stuff that you haven't discovered yet. So it's been interesting. Sometimes it's right in your backyard and you didn't even realize it.
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bob, what are some of your heroes? If you'd like to meet someone, who would it be?
I'm such a huge Hellboy fanboy, so like Mike Mignola, that would be really cool. Man, he's created like all the titles I love. Like I love Dark Horse. I love their style, everything about him. And I actually mentioned Becky Cloonan too. Like she did some of the Conan work there. She would be cool to talk to. Like whenever anyone like asks questions like this, I wonder like what would it be like to actually meet them, and like what if it's like a bad experience?
You're like crying.
It's like almost like, oh man, I want to meet them, but like, what if I meet him and it's a terrible experience?
I've watched interviews with Chris Claremont, because Chris Claremont's one of mine, and it's like he's such a crazy good writer at tying everything in, and the way his brain works and the way he writes characters. Like I just did a YouTube video on this, and this is like one of my favorites. I've gone over this annual, like poured over it for like hours and hours of my lifetime. Anyway, this is I'm a huge fan, and I watch interviews with him, and it's like, oh, he talks exactly like he writes. Like it's just like all over the place. Like, whoa, I don't know if I could handle a conversation with this guy. Crazy.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm talking about. Like, do I really want to meet them? Of course I do, but yeah, that's just the way I operate. That's
For sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know who would be on my list, man. I think MC Escher might be one of them, though.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, just because of the way he thinks. But who knows? He probably wouldn't say anything. It's hard to get him out of his drawing closet.
Dan says meeting your heroes isn't always a good thing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Yeah,
Is that him with a monkey?
It's not that anyone that I mentioned would be like, I'm not worried necessarily. Like, I don't get that impression that they would be bad people or like not cool to me. But it's just one of those things.
Oh, for sure. Sometimes you just got to see by the prosthetic exterior and just see the glowing light inside.
A lot of my heroes nowadays are YouTubers, because you're like, there's so much stuff out there, like art YouTubers, right? Like like David Finch is now considered a YouTuber. There's all these guys, White Manga, he's amazing. And it's like, for me, it like, some of them are Spanish, some of them are Black, some of them are white, some of them are women. And to me, it doesn't matter. It's like, if their art is good, then they're good. And that's all that really matters. Like the whole discussion about racism is a big thing these days. But I'm like, well, like, I don't know, is okay. All right. But these guys are amazing. That's the way I see it. I would love to meet Proco. I'd love to sit down with Proco. That'd be so cool.
Proco's cool. Yeah, he's fantastic. His content's amazing for sure.
I think some of the experience, even just in the folks that we run into day to day, so we're working with a marketing firm right now, and we had one of our team members, Jackie. She's always yawning on the Zoom call, and one of the people in marketing is like, what's her deal? Like, like, is she bored or whatever? And I was, it seemed so run of the mill to me once I said it to them, but I didn't realize how crazy it sounds to other people. And I was like, oh yeah, Jackie dreams in art, and sometimes she wakes up at 2 a.m. and just starts creating art and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, because she needs to like get it straight from her brain to paper at whatever hour it comes to. And they were just like, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I was like, yeah, it is
So
amazing. I
cool.
guess when you're so close to it every day. Like,
For sure.
Yeah, I just watched that interview where like she's a great interview, by the way. Like what a cool person to have to get to work with. She's amazing.
oh yeah. I don't know if I had talked about like how she like cornered me into interviewing her, and then like, you know, like she was like, do you need a graphic designer? And like, you know, I was like, oh yeah, I do. And she's like, okay, cool. Interview me in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing it. You need a graphic designer. I'm a graphic designer. You know, you need one of me, and I'm me. So, you know, and she's our number 2 person at the company, you know, right now. So if I'm not around, Jackie's the one making the decisions. And I didn't realize how young she is, you know. So she's, you know, I think she just turned 25, you know. So it's just like, but yeah, incredibly competent, and, you know, incredibly a pleasure to work with. So
That's amazing. You know what? You think about the best scenario. What would be one of the best scenarios for like an interview and stuff like that? I think like getting all dressed up and going in the wrestling ring would be an awesome fun interview. You know, like old school 80s style wrestling, you know, and
I would love that. Yeah.
so what are your credentials?
You're in the military. I wouldn't touch you. No way.
It's wrestling. It's all fake. Right.
Man.
Sorry, that's completely off topic, and that's basically the way my brain thinks. But
I love pugilism. Like one of the reasons I started drawing comics in the beginning was because I wanted to like draw step-by-step fight scenes, right? So I would I used to buy Punisher War Journal. That was the first like kind of like action fighting comic I ever got. And I loved how they would break down fight scenes. The writer would comment like he did an elbow this time, and then he ducked under and did this and whatever. I'm like, oh man, wow. And then I got into a fight at school, and I used one of the moves from the comic book on this guy, and it worked. It was like, wow. But I almost busted my hand in the process. It was like a thing like up and snapped his head back. It was kind of cool.
I'm learning from the pages of a comic.
Yeah.
13 years old. Yeah.
Oh man. No, this has been a fantastic interview and stuff, and I think we're probably getting closer to the closing ceremonies here. We don't want to keep you too long. We really appreciate you coming out and connecting with us, and I hope that this is a beginning of a growing relationship, and yeah, we can connect on a more frequent basis. I think it'd be fantastic. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anything you want to point people to? Links. I put a whole bunch of links in the description, but where can people best connect with you and see your stuff?
Yeah, just on social media, lesser known comics on Instagram is always great. lesserknowncomics.com. There's the first link on lesserknowncomics.com will take you directly to the Kickstarter for the for the next Digital Lizards of Doom book. So those are definitely the primary places, and don't be a stranger. Always send us a note. If you want to say hi.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. I definitely got to hit you up on the Kickstarter and stuff. I know I've been kind of sleeping on campaigns, but you kind of got to roll with your funds sometimes. But it's
10 days and the next one starts. Yeah.
Yep. 29th of March. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then ours right after.
Cool. I'll be checking your Instagram to see what's up. If there's anything that I can contribute to or join or, get in the comment section or something on that day. Are you going to kick off the Kickstarter with anything? You going to do a live stream or something?
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be doing live. We'll probably be doing Instagram live and stuff like that for most of the day on the 29th. We're kind of putting the final details on that. I think Gabe's got something like 18 podcasts or something like that total during the campaign thing. So it'll be a busy man.
Doing like a campaign surge and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I'd like to pick your brain about is just the general, like how to manage growth and help grow Tardigrade as a brand as well. Take put the proper people in the right places and let it grow, let it flourish.
Yeah.
So
Certainly, yeah, anytime. And, that's, anytime we want to, that's something we can do also on a podcast or whatever, just kind of, break down some of those key functions, whether it's, pre-press stuff or whether it's Kickstarter prep or, any of that stuff. I think a lot of people kind of struggle with the same thing where they're just like, what, I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, like the marketing, publishing, and then delegating duty, right? So
Yeah.
I put so much effort into this, just into production values and connecting with people. And it's like, so Chad wants me to do some of the publicity for the next Kickstarter. And I'm like, wow, I have a whole lot of experience. Gonna try to do my best.
Yeah. Well, reach
This is
out if
fun,
you guys need anything. Yeah. Just let me know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Wow,
Thanks
what a
so much,
treat.
guys.
This is amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
All right. Nice to meet you too, Bob. And yeah, you guys take care. And I'll see you out there in cyberspace.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Mark.
Sounds good, Mark. Take it easy, man.
All right. Take care.
All right,
Yeah.
have a good one. Bye
Yeah.
now.
Bye.